All right, everybody, on behalf of Arnie, say hi to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
There you
Nice
go.
to be back.
We are so happy to have you back with us, actually for us to be with you. Actually, during this very special time of the Jewish calendar makes it even much more beautiful and wonderful. We wish all of you a Shana Tova, a very happy and healthy new year. I know, Arnie, you probably have something, as a UJA, Federation president. Do you want to say something about the holiday, the new year?
I just want to, like you, wish everybody a happy, sweet, and healthy New Year and a meaningful Yom Kippur next week. And Donna, we would be remiss as a group not to wish you well tonight. Obviously, we're all watching the storm, and our thoughts and prayers are with everybody in the state of Florida. And we hope that it's not too much.
We must be getting a lot of coverage right now on the Weather Channel because all my phone's blowing up. People I haven't heard from in years. I'm thinking about you. I'm like, really? Maybe because it says Jacksonville, right? Every single Weather Channel, on the Weather Porn Channel, we are next up. And actually, you guys are making me feel warm and comfortable, so I appreciate that. Today is our first show back, actually, since the games. The games were an extraordinary experience for those of you who were able to join them in person. I would have to say that our communications efforts, I think Danny Kurtz, Marshall, the whole team, I haven't seen it, whether Steve, I know Mackenzie, I think really enabled those at home, right? We actually were able to really engage people who were not in Israel to enjoy the games in a way we previously haven't been able to bring it to them. We did actually do a sports show from Israel, which was really so much fun. And now here we are again. We're going to do one of these a month, again, highlighting some of the great people who are Jewish in sports. But we thought, what better way to kick off than to really highlight some of our great Jewish athletes and this great experience we had for the Maccabi in Israel this past summer. If any of you can raise your hands. Any silver boards, he always comes and joins us, but he was actually one of our managers. And if I do this, I'm going to miss people. Hi, and John Auerbach has a young person with him as well. Hi, bud.
That's my husband and kids.
Oh, yeah. Hi, how are you guys? Doing well? Listen, you're allowed it later. We're going to call on you for some personal comments later, okay? Just be ready. What's your son's name, Danielle?
My son is Robbie and his twin sister is Allison. And then my little one is Claire.
Oh, are they all there too? Robbie, is your twin around?
Allison are there. Claire's asleep.
I'm a mom of twins, so I know that. I'm just looking through to see.
I'm a twin too, so we all know that 2 is better than 1, right?
That's right. That's right. We're going to talk about that, Chelsey, because your twin is really what got you involved. All right, so we're going to jump right in. And I'm going to ask, usually, Arnie, I give you the first question, but I have one first question here. I want to introduce everybody, first of all. Let me just say it. First one up is, just wave your hand so people know who you are, unless you have a different view on, is Chelsey Goldberg. I had and she played for the Open Women's Ice Hockey Team, gold medal, may I add, and historic. It was the first women's game competition ever held in Israel. I would say that I felt so incredibly fortunate to be there at the game, to see history being made, and actually a culmination of a woman's effort in Chelsey Goldberg to have a vision to make this happen. These things are not easily forthcoming. She called me, I don't know, many months before and said, hey, this is what I want to do. Can you help me? She did that to so many people. You couldn't deny her passion or her dream. And I guess you'll show the picture later. It was extraordinary. So we have Chelsey, and we'll learn more about Chelsey. Then we have the amazing gymnast, Alan Gerdov, right? Alan goes to the University of Michigan, outstanding gymnast, son of 2 immigrants from Ukraine, which brings us another element actually into our entirety of our Jewish experience. And of course, Arnie has a lot of experience, having raised 2 daughters he brought here from Ukraine. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well as your experience. And of course, Robbie, we have your mom. Allison, we have your mom. And we're not calling her mom. What do we call her? We call her Danielle Auerbach. And she was a gold medal masters tennis player who has an extraordinary history, engagement, not only with being Jewish, with her family, Holocaust survivors, and of course the Maccabi games this summer. So I'm going to just ask the first question, Arnie, and you can follow right up. But if I was to ask you one word, you get one word to describe your experience in the games this past July, what would it be? And Danielle, because you're on the top of my screen, I'm going to go with you first. then Chelsey, and then Mr. Gerdov.
I'm going to say unforgettable.
Unforgettable. All right, Arnie, that gives you some food. Unforgettable is great. Was it your first games?
First games.
Wow. Okay, we're going to dig into
They're the
that.
local games with my first in Israel.
Awesome. Chelsey.
I was gonna say that too.
You can.
And if I can combine life changing, I'll say life changing, or we can just do impactful.
Impactful. Okay, and?
I was literally going to say life-changing. We could go with significant.
Well, listen, you guys, if you align with that word, I think it speaks to the experience, but I'm sure it means a little something different to all of you. Arnie?
Well, first of all, thank you all again for being here tonight. And, you know, if there was one word that I have to provide for all three of your stories, it's inspirational. And hopefully we're going to be able to dig a little deeper on that tonight. So what we're going to do for the first 20 minutes or so is try to spotlight each of you and talk a little bit about your background and life and athletic pursuits. And then we'll get into Israel kind of in part two of the show tonight. So I'm going to start, Chelsey, with you, if it's okay. And, you know, obviously you did not play ice hockey right from the beginning. As I understand it, it was really roller derby that you started with. But from there, and through your desire to be in hockey, you made a move from California all the way to Vermont to join an academy. So I'd like you first to talk about that, and then we're going to talk a little bit about your collegiate background and what happened there at Northeastern.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up playing your typical California sports. Being from Southern California, we played. I have a twin brother, and we did everything together. So we played, you know, soccer, baseball at the time when we were younger. I played with the boys, swim, lacrosse, water polo, you name it, all the California sports. And then a few of our best friends got rollerblades one summer and they started playing roller hockey. So we asked our parents if we could join the fun with them. And they said, of course. So we started playing roller hockey with a few of our best guy friends. And from there, we were playing in, you know, 118-degree Southern California heat, and it just wasn't sustainable. So we took roller hockey to the ice rink and started playing ice hockey from there. And at that point, it wasn't anything serious. We were just playing your in-house recreational hockey. But our coaches along the way believed in us, and they saw natural talent in us and our work ethic, and they kept encouraging us to pursue the higher levels. And they told my brother and I we could really take it to the collegiate level. My mom swam in college, so college sports was in my family to an extent. And so from there, my brother and my mindsets shifted, and we turned it from just playing for fun to more competitive. And that's what brought me back east when I was 16. I got recruited to play at a hockey academy in Stowe, Vermont, my junior and senior year of high school. At that point in time, I was in the USA under-18 national team pool. So this hockey academy had seen me play previously, and they basically, you know, promised me almost if I went back east, there's so many schools back east recruiting that it would give me a higher opportunity, a higher chance to get seen at the collegiate level. So that's what made me go back east. And, you know, I didn't look back, and I don't regret anything leading up until that point.
And Donna, I'm going to follow up with one more, and then I'll let you take Alan from there. But so Chelsey, from there, obviously your dream was realized. You received a scholarship at a D1 university, great university with Northeastern, and then you faced adversity in life. And talk about that adversity, you know, how difficult it was, and then a little bit about your work as a student athlete advisory committee member, and how that really changed your life with your global visit to Africa.
Yeah, so when I went back east to play at the North American Hockey Academy, I actually, the timeline lined up. So I had actually committed to Northeastern University leading into it was sophomore summer. So summer before junior year. And I ended up breaking both my legs along the way. So I broke my first broken leg junior year of high school. And I was out for 6 months just because the bone itself wouldn't heal properly. So that sent me back. And then I broke my second leg almost a year to the day. And I actually had to call my coach at Northeastern and be like, hey, just so you know, I broke my second leg. But he really awesome. And he was like, if there's one person that can overcome this, it's you. And with the strength of myself, my family, my friends, my teammates, coaches, everyone along the way, supporting me and pushing me to continue to take to the next level. I overcame that second broken leg. That one required surgery. I had to get 5 screws and a plate put in just because it broke in 4 different places. And that was more of a gnarly procedure. But I actually was out again for 6 months. And then when I got to Northeastern, my coach honored my scholarship, which was amazing. And that also helped encourage me to keep pushing and overcoming that adversity. And then when I did get to Northeastern my freshman year, I got sick with mono. And that actually, because I kept playing on it through training camp and through the first few weeks of season, my spleen and liver were too enlarged to clear me to play. So I lost that whole year due to mono. I actually had to get a medical leave from school and fly home to California. Just that's how sick I was. And then sophomore year comes around and my surgical ankle that I got the hardware put in, it was getting inflamed every time I skated or worked out, put pressure on it. And my team doctor at the time said, you have to get the hardware out just for your own future and for the sake of your bone. And moving forward, you don't want to go through that pain. And so they x-rayed my leg again. And it turned out that one of my screws was actually going into my ankle bone and the ligaments in my foot. So we had to go in for another procedure and get that hardware taken out. So that was my 4th year actually being out of competition. And I mean, I can't tell you how many times I thought to myself, this is it, I'm done. Mentally, I was exhausted from overcoming these injuries and this adversity, but there was something in the back of my head that kept telling me to push through. And finally, my junior year at Northeastern, my parents were in the stands and I scored 2 shorthanded goals my first game back. So it kind of felt like all my hard work at the end of the day paid off, and it was full circle that this is why I kept pushing and overcame those injuries, was for that exact moment with my family in the stands. So it was a lot, but if there's one lesson to take from it, it's to embrace the adversity and embrace the challenges that come along, because it only makes you a better person in the end and a stronger person.
Clearly, you were able to tap into that adversity and provide resilience in creating a sports opportunity we've never had before. So thanks for that, Chelsey. Let me ask Alan, if I could. Alan, this was your first Maccabi out, yes?
Yeah.
Tell me, and you won silver in the team gymnastics, right? And you won a bronze in the vault.
Yeah.
All right, but you competed at a very high level, Division I, University of Michigan. Yes, everybody can say "Go Big Blue," whatever you want to say again. That's fine. Lots of Michigan supporters here. What made you? What was your expectation, and how did the experience measure up to that?
Yeah, I'll try not to be too dramatic.
Don't be dramatic. This is like come on, drama. Go.
I mean, like the planning of this was just like fairy tale perfect, because the previous summer when Maccabi was supposed to actually happen, I had just had knee surgery. If it was a summer later, then I would have been 1 year retired of gymnastics. So the fact that it was postponed 1 year and only 1 year was the only time within a 4-year swing that I would have been able to attend, because it was my last gymnastics competition ever. And to that point, it being my last gymnastics competition ever, the expectations are just ginormous. And like after the experience actually happened, it felt like it was just incomparable.
Well, when you say ginormous, it's an interesting word. Can you give that a little context to ginormous? Why?
Because my gymnastics career has been very like character defining for me. So to think that after one competition, it's all going to actually end, because I was previously retired as a freshman in college and I had already come to terms with it a little bit, but coming back to the team and giving it another go and then actually competing for Michigan, despite the injuries and the hurdles along the way, to know that I'm going out on this stage on my terms couldn't have been a bigger exclamation point to my career.
Amazing. Arnie, that leaves us with
yeah, I'm gonna jump in, Alan, and Donna kind of prefaced this in her opening remarks, but I also would like to talk to you a little bit about Ukraine and your parents' background. I think it's a fascinating story. They fled the former Soviet Union more than 30 years ago, and settled in the United States. And I guess my question I would ask you is, how has the current war affected your family? Number one, but more importantly, number two is you walked into opening ceremonies, and as you saw the yellow and blue of the Ukrainian flag coming in with Ukrainian Maccabi athletes, how did that make you feel, knowing your background?
Okay, yeah, to address both of those parts, my family is obviously devastated by it, but like the people in Ukraine, I mean, they're trying to have their eyes set forward to appropriately reacting and trying to solve the issues that they have. And if anything, this goes beyond the realm of sports about how empowering it is to see the attitudes and perseverance of these Ukrainian people, where a lot of people would have definitely counted them out in this war. And the fact that they were completely able to flip the script in a way that no one expected, at least to this magnitude, is more indicative of the people, I think, than the ugly circumstances that they're in. So, yeah, it's on paper and like, I'm not trying to take away from the actual severity of the conflict, but to be able to like take a step back and see the message that these people are giving to the rest of the world about banding together and overpowering, it's like, I don't, it's amazing. And then to answer your question about personally, how did I feel about competing with Ukraine? I can't believe it. I honestly, since I was a little kid, I found a lot of really early success in gymnastics, and I loved it a lot when I was very young. So obviously the end goal was to compete at the Olympics on a international stage with people from all of the different countries in the world, and to be able to fall in love with gymnastics again right before going into college, and then ending my career being able to compete and talk with some of the best athletes from different countries, especially the country where my parents are from. It was like, I honestly didn't even expect that part of it, and it was just cherries on cherries on cherries on top.
that's
That's
fantastic.
very, Alan, really, really well said. And Donna, just a footnote to all of this. Really thank you and kudos to Marshall and all of the Maccabi USA leaders on the Zoom tonight, because Maccabi has been raising money for Ukraine and to help the Ukrainian national team be able to come to Israel. And it's through that generosity of all of you tonight, that the Ukrainian Maccabi team was able to walk into the opening ceremony. So thank you to everyone for that support. Donna?
Yeah, and of note, by the way, Ukraine has 30, or did have 30 operating Maccabi clubs. It is our largest member in the European Union. And so led by the European Maccabi leadership, they are still very much engaged in trying to provide services as well as exits for Ukrainians looking to go to other places. So lots really positive going on there, and the ability for Jewish athletes, again, those involved in sports who are Jewish, to be able to connect is very important. Danielle.
Yes.
I'm going to give a little context here. You were one of over 1,300 people that comprised the USA delegation, which was the largest USA delegation that we've ever had. You were a member of the USA, which was one of how many, Danny? 60 or 80? Marshall, how many were we? 60 or 80 countries?
60 plus.
It was over 70, I believe. Yeah.
Which is extraordinary. I'm sure you just were going to be a great tennis player. You wanted to win a medal. But what other kind of motivation did you have? After all, you're a mother, right? You're working. the idea of taking off and becoming part of this international competition. I'm sure you had a lot of things to weigh before you said, I'm going to go do this. So what other expectations did you have?
I did. I actually wanted to play Maccabi games in Israel when I was 18 years old. Similarly to Chelsey, I had Tommy John surgery, which is a major elbow surgery right before being recruited to Wake Forest. Actually got my offer from Wake Forest, found out a couple of days later I needed to have Tommy John surgery, which is a full year recovery. The coach said, wow, that's a big deal. Give me a couple of days to think about it. And he called me back and he said, Schwartzy, Schwartz was my maiden name, Schwartzy, I asked around about you. You have a good reputation, a good work ethic. The scholarship is still yours, which, was a pretty big deal of someone entering, Wake Forest to play D1 college tennis. At the same time, that summer, I wanted to play Maccabi games in Israel. It was always a dream of mine. It didn't happen. And then college and working and marriage and kids. So I say that this is sort of 20 years in the making that I finally got the opportunity to play in Israel. I knew it was going to be an incredible and, like I said, unforgettable experience. I didn't realize, to use the words that Chelsey and Alan said, it was life-changing. On a very personal level, it felt incredible to compete again. I hadn't competed since 2005 when I graduated Wake Forest. To train and focus and be able to compete again just felt incredible on so many different levels. And even just all the nerves and all the good and bad that came along with competition came back. I felt like I was in junior tennis and college tennis, but was able to have, so much fun and meet so many wonderful people. And that was it for me as well. When I was 18, I think it would have been a different story. It would have only been about winning. Now being almost 40, I wanted it to have just the overall incredible experience. I think I was just as excited for opening ceremony as I was to compete in the games. Walking in the stadium with 10,000 athletes and 1,300, fellow USA athletes and just Jewish athletes around the world. It was really incredible. I got very emotional walking into the stadium with fellow Masters tennis teammates, but also, athletes from everywhere and all different ages. So for me, it was incredible to win and to win 2 gold medals in singles and mixed doubles with Udi, who you said hello to earlier, but also just the camaraderie and the friendships I've made. I mean, we have a Maccabi Masters tennis chat, and it's going on all the time from, Roger Federer's retirement to wishing everyone a happy and healthy new year. And just getting the chance to meet so many new, incredible people from all around the country and hearing about them and their families and their stories. It really was an experience I will never forget and truly life-changing.
We also have a Jewish Women in Sports chat on WhatsApp, Danielle, and we have to make sure we get you to be a part of that. We have like about 120. Chelsea's on it, I believe.
I would love to be on.
Yeah, we got it. We got to get you on that too. And we could talk about Roger Federer on there. But we have gymnasts, Alan as well. We have the female version of the female team on that. But let me ask you this, guys, and then please follow up, Arnie. A moment during the opening ceremony. Well, actually, no, this is where I'd rather go. You've been home now for 3 months. What's the enduring feeling or the enduring message or experience that you keep returning to?
I have to say it's 3 months later and I'm still on a high. Just from opening.
Why are you on a high? Tell us.
I mean, just reliving the experience there. Like I said, from opening ceremonies to competing, to winning 2 gold medals, to meeting so many incredible people. I was part of 2 Shabbat dinners in the hotel, which were truly incredible. I mean, the Argentinians got up and did Kiddush and Motzi, and at the end took out their guitars and we started singing Hebrew songs together. And these are moments that I will truly remember forever. It was intense, the competition. There was, a girl I played in the finals from Brazil, and there was 20 people cheering against me. And thankfully I had all of my Masters teammates cheering for me as well. But breakfast in the morning, we're all in the hotel together, and these two Shabbat dinners, like, you know, competition aside, you're all there to experience Israel together, experience the Maccabi games together, and just have this wonderful experience together. And that's something I really will never forget. And also just the support from back home. I mean, from family and friends was incredible the whole time. They were keeping up to date and tracking, and but also from friends of friends and strangers and acquaintances, and the school my kids go to, Ramaz, and the high school I went to, and Wake Forest, and everyone got so into it and was excited about it. And my former, you know, tennis player friends who wrote to me like, wow, I can't believe you did this after being a mom. Like, I play tennis for 5 minutes and I'm out of gas. You know, for you to compete again, and you have 3 kids at home, it felt incredible. And also everyone has a Maccabi, I didn't realize this, but everyone has a Maccabi story. Like, people would stop me on the street and say, I went to opening ceremonies in 2000 and, you know, whatever year it was, or I sponsored an athlete, or I have a family who played, or a friend who played, or I once was in Israel and watching it on TV. Like, it was unbelievable how people felt so connected to it. You know, obviously the family and friends, but strangers and acquaintances. I mean, the emails I got and the posts, and it really was so touching and inspiring. And like I said, it's still riding the high. I even getting this invitation to be on here tonight. It's an honor to be on here with you, with Donna and Arnie and Chelsey and Alan. It's inspiring to hear your stories.
Well, that's so funny, Danielle, because we're so proud to be here with your mom, Betty, sending us love messages on the thing, and your family, clearly, your son. Like, that's real joy for us as well. We do have a video of Danielle in action. So why don't we share that with everyone? The mom who people didn't think could do this, who absolutely starred.
You hear my parents in the background. My parents were there for the whole 2 weeks, and it was wonderful to have them there. And I had my husband there as well. Unfortunately, only for 3 nights, because he had to go back to visiting day at my twin sleepaway camp. But it was really incredible to have them there and have their support.
That's fantastic. Arnie?
Yeah, Danielle. I mean, Alan and Chelsey, we're going to get to you because you've got amazing stories. We want to talk about Israel, but I want to ask Danielle one last question here before we move off. You have, beyond your sports background, you have a really important, interesting story in the world of Judaism, and that's that your maternal grandparents were survivors of the Holocaust. And as I read the story, were actually saved by Oskar Schindler, who all of us know that movie and that story. Just, you know, and I don't know if we could open this up to your mom or not, but if we can, you know, I read some amazing quotes from both your mom, Betty, and from you, what it meant and what your grandparents would have thought about you representing and winning a medal for the United States after what your grandparents went through. Just talk a little bit about that, because it's truly inspirational.
Yeah, so like you said, my grandfather was a Schindler survivor. Schindler saved 1,200 Jews in the Holocaust. You know, the story was made famous by Steven Spielberg in Schindler's List. My grandfather was a huge sports fan. He was a big tennis fan, loved that I played tennis. Honestly, one of my proudest moments in life was my grandfather got to see me play doubles in the 1999 Junior US Open. I could picture him, I mean, so vividly, with his US Open hat on, tears coming down his face, that he couldn't believe, you know, he survived what he did. I mean, he lost 6 brothers and sisters in the war, lost his parents. He met my grandma in a DP camp in Austria. They came to this country with nothing. And he started a successful real estate business. And to this day, every development that they have has a street named after Oskar Schindler. So Schindler Avenue, Schindler Way. Schindler was at my grandparents' 25th wedding anniversary. We have a picture of a bunch of survivors holding him on a chair. So, you know, he was a huge part of my life. And he loved Israel. And I mean, honestly, during championship point in mixed doubles and championship point in singles, I was thinking about him and how proud he would be and how happy he would be. He loved the United States. He loved Israel. So he loved sports and competition. So, you know, if he was, I know he could see it from, you know, from with Hashem, but so I know he would be so proud of me, and an incredible moment. And like I said, to have my parents there, it's my mom's father was really incredible. They traveled everywhere with me in juniors and college. So for them to be able to see me compete again was amazing. But I wish my grandfather could have been there, but I know how happy he is, and it really would have been a dream come true for him to see me win gold in Israel representing USA. So.
Danielle, thank you for sharing that. That's a beautiful story, really, very, very beautiful. Alan, let's transition a little bit. I want to talk to you about Israel now, and we'll get to the games itself and more of the gymnastics competition. But you were part of a very special ceremony, as I understand it, as part of the Israel Connect program at Yad Vashem, and love for you to talk a little bit about that and what that meant to you.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a ceremony in the Hall of Remembrance that I got to share with one of my best friends that unfortunately wasn't able to make it to this call today. But you know, him and I have spoken about how our identity of being Jewish was always a little bit different than most people that we ran into. It was something that we were very aware of, especially with, I'll speak on my upbringing. It was more of the like ethno part of the ethno religion tribe that Judaism really is. So to be a part of a spiritual ceremony is a pretty foreign concept for us. But as a grandson of a Holocaust survivor as well, that I think she's watching with my mom right now, to be able to participate in a ceremony like that, and like I said, share it with one of my best friends who I became much closer with, was overcoming. It was a feeling that I haven't had many like in my 23 years of being alive. So it was very, very special to me, and I hold that memory and videos and pictures I have from that moment very dearly.
That's beautiful. We have I'm told we have a little bit of footage, so we want to show the audience tonight what we saw in Israel. At least we think we're gonna show what we have in Israel.
We definitely got this, right?
Yeah, I think Mackenzie and Dan are loading it up, so give it a second here, and hopefully we will have it ready.
Go. Let's go at a time. You know what to do.
That's awesome. You would make one of our officers from Maccabi USA is Ben Fox, who runs an academy, a gymnastics academy out of Oklahoma City, and he would be very proud of what you've accomplished.
I was laughing during that video because that is one of my favorite moments from the competition, just because that was my first time doing rings in 6 years. I had a handful of injuries along the way, and in college especially, athletes tend to specialize at their stronger events, and whether it's due to talent or injury and what you're permitted to do, that was an event that seriously put me out for many years. And the fact that I came into Maccabi thinking that I was not going to do rings, and then I realized that to give ourselves a better chance against the Israeli national team, we might as well get a fourth score. my coach Jesse and I, and any minds that were able to come, were able to scrap together a routine from using my teammates' old grips. It was a very it was a very Allen performance, gritty, getting through it, trying to figure it out in the last second. So I really appreciated all of it. And I'm happy you shared it, because that's the only video you'll see me doing rings where I have a beard. Everything else was I was like 16, 15 years old.
Well done. And I'm going to have Donna ask the question to Chelsey next, but just kind of want to key Mackenzie and Dan that once Donna asks the questions, we will show the Maccabiah video that we have.
Okay, Carmel, you have the request. I've answered your request, Carmel, and we'll talk about you in a minute. Let's come back to you, Chelsey. All right, in the spirit of
Let's do it.
3 months, as I said to Danielle and Arnie said to Alan, what stays with you? What stays with you?
Well, for me, I'm still honestly trying to kind of debrief what we experienced and really absorb what we went through, just because I was truthfully trying to live every day in the moment. And so there's still days up until today where I remember something from our trip, our whole trip, and I'm like, wait a second, I didn't forget about it, but I'm reliving it because that's how in the moment I was trying to be with every experience that we had there. So it wasn't like I forgot it, but it's just me reliving it, remembering how amazing that moment was. And one of those moments was actually.
Hold on, time out. Give us a moment. Come on, give us a moment.
Well, I'm about to explain. One of the moments was actually listening to the Holocaust survivor. That was one of my favorite moments. And it was just so surreal to be in front of her and hearing her story, you know, after we have read about it throughout history and have only heard about it, you know, but I've never been in front of a survivor like that. And it was life-changing. It made me speechless. And I actually went up to her after and I talked to her a little bit. I invited her to one of our games. I think at that point we hadn't started playing yet. So I invited her to our opening game. Unfortunately, she had something, I believe, with one of her kids going on, so she couldn't make it. But it was just a really special moment. And I relive that every single day, honestly.
Right. Which accommodation center were you
at? We were in Kafar, Maccabiah.
So I was there as well.
Yeah.
And do you know the woman who spoke to us, who was absolutely amazing, loving, wonderful, forgiving, inspiring, all those things? Do you know that she was one of the survivors that met with President Biden the next day when he came to Israel to visit?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's where
why she didn't make your game. I think it was because she had a visit with the president.
That's right. That's the voice
That could be it.
from the outside saying that's why she couldn't come to the game. She was meeting President Biden, inspiring him with the story as well.
Yeah,
that'll do it.
It was extraordinary. And not only was her story extraordinary, but I also thought, Chelsey, sitting beside all of us, sitting with each other. I'm not sure, Danielle, where you were. You probably were up in Herzliya or something. I'm not sure. Netanya, maybe.
Netanya. Yeah.
And Alan, where were you? Do you know where you were?
We were in Tel Aviv.
Okay. So I think we had 3 different speakers, our IC people who organized that. Big credit to them making that happen. But sitting in that room with everybody also made it really quite special, right? That community experience. Interesting that Alan and Danielle both grew up in survivor families, which gives you definitely a different perspective. Interestingly enough, I have a dear friend. Her name is Dr. Edith Eva Eger. She's Hungarian and she's a survivor. She speaks all over the world. And I'm going to be flying to California on Sunday to celebrate her 95th birthday. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. It truly is amazing. And the fact that, again, Maccabi brought us together to share in that very special experience, which is enriching as well as perspective giving, was such a gift. I totally am appreciative of that. Arnie?
Well, why don't we show some video next?
We have to show Chelsey's video. Of course.
We have the Maccabiah video that I think is great.
No, we're going to do that at the end, Arnie.
And we're
going to do that at the end.
At the end, okay. And we have some video on Chelsey as well.
later. I want to tease it a little bit right now.
Yeah, well, one of the players that helped make this game a reality was Chelsey Goldberg. She's the captain for the U.S., and our Zach Gershman caught up with her before the game.
For the game with Chelsey Goldberg, team captain. Chelsey, I know last night you said that it doesn't feel real that this is actually here. Now that it's the day of the game. How are you and the team feeling?
It's still not real. Absolutely still not real. Everyone's excited. Nerves are a little high, but once we hit the ice for warm-ups, I think everyone will calm down a bit.
What are the keys to the U.S. to come home with a victory?
We just have to play together, play as a team, play as one unit. We're a family. We've bonded into a family the past couple weeks, and so we just have to put it on the ice.
Lastly, what's your message to the team right before you guys do go out on the ice?
Have some fun, embrace the moment. This is an experience of a lifetime, so we just have to cherish it.
Puck drop in a couple minutes, guys. Back to you.
Thanks, Zach. Chelsey Goldberg.
I have to say, I love our reporters.
Helping start this women's hockey in the Maccabiah, and she is our player to watch for the U.S. Brought to you by 76 Capital 11.
Absolutely, Griffin. The SoCal Jewish Sports Hall of Famers drafted by the Boston Blades in the Women's Professional Hockey League back a couple of years ago, and she's the reason this happened. Without her, none of this would be done. Myself and Joe Manfrey, before the start of the Maccabi, I wrote an article about her. She's the unofficial general manager of this entire open division.
Yeah, star at Northeastern, graduated in 2015, played professionally. She's done it all in women's hockey, one of the best Jewish women's hockey players of all time. For Canada, quickly before the puck jump.
Hey, how does that make you feel, Chelsey? Pretty cool, right?
I mean, it still just doesn't seem real. Just even going back to the gold medal game, my team, we came out with the silver medal, but I can proudly say that I feel like every single one of us won the gold medal experience. So I think just overall, standing on that ice after the buzzer and sharing the ice with Team Israel and Canada alongside all my teammates, it was one of the most incredible feelings. And I actually was last off the ice just because it was at that moment, I think it finally hit me. It really didn't hit me throughout the whole experience, just because, like I said, I was trying to embrace every single day. So in that final moment when, our games were officially over and we were on the ice accepting our medals and sharing that experience with the other teams, it was just so surreal.
It just amazing, right? Just absolutely amazing. So I'm inviting people to ask questions. Let me just say this. Alan, you called out, I guess Zach Gershman, our reporter. I mean, it is kind of fun. We did have Team Maccabi Media. I think I saw Neil Slacken. Thanks again to Dan Kurtz and Marshall Einhorn for putting that all together. It just adds a whole dimension of professionalism communications we appreciate. I love your question, Perry Goodman. So part of the traditions, if you do not know, we should share with you is every team comes with their gear and everybody cannot wait to get undressed for each other. It happens at opening ceremonies. It happens at closing ceremonies. Everybody's scoping everybody else's gear out. Who do you want? My son happened to be competing. His immediate pick was he wanted the Israeli shorts. I'll never forget this. So I'm standing with him on the infield, and the guy comes up to him and they point, and he goes to take off his jersey. He goes, no, the pants. And they literally stripped down right there. So how about you? What was your big great exchange? Did you get one, Alan?
Yeah, I had a few. It was a lot of fun. My favorite, hands down, were definitely trading with Team Ukraine. I mean, I feel like a lot of people were doing it just for the novelty of it, but obviously I felt like a responsibility to be able to trade this just to have, I guess, more fuel for that fire. And I don't even wear them often. It's something that I gave my dad and we just have for the memory. And then from like practical purposes, I guess, I traded a lot with Canada. I actually know Perry very well. And one of her teammates gave me one of their like tank tops that I wear to the gym a lot. I really appreciate it. Shout out Team Canada and Perry.
Anybody else? Hey, Danielle, come on. Were you able to trade for, what did you bring home the kids?
The
If you didn't bring home something now, we're going to have to help you out because they're now going to know.
I did. I brought stuff for them. Their trading was awesome. It was so cool. I mean, I was trading pins left and right at opening ceremony. I love that aspect of it, especially the younger kid, the teenagers and the younger people loved it. It was so cool. But at our medal ceremony, they did a beautiful medal ceremony on the stadium court in Netanya. And I was big fans of the Argentinian team. I just felt like every day they brought the spirit and the hype, and they were incredible. And everyone wanted USA gear. So I traded with a couple of Argentinians, ended up with a cool Argentinian like Messi jersey, Lionel Messi jersey. So that was very cool. And then after the tournament director, who did a fantastic job. She was the assistant tournament director. She was dying for anything USA. I gave her my USA visor and she was so happy. I mean, she was hugging me and was ecstatic, and it was very cool. She had a grueling 2 weeks. As you guys know, it was so hot there and scheduling tennis is not easy. And she was so excited to just get a piece of the USA gear. So just very cool all around.
Very cool. Oh, Deb Lichtenfeld is here. We want to thank her for helping to arrange those speakers. I just want to let everyone know I have an extra USA hoodie. I'm just trying to think how I could put it out there and benefit the organization, but I don't even want to trade. I just would give it away. I don't know, Don, you're gonna have to help me be creative about that, right? Because
we'll have to do an auction for our next show.
You can auction it on.
It'll be a fundraising piece.
I didn't compete in it, but what can I say? Chelsey, what'd you get? What was the goodies you got?
Well, I actually stuck to the pins mostly, but I was eyeing Australia. My twin brother, when he was there in 2013 and again in 2017, he got a couple pieces from Australia that were super cool, and I saw it firsthand this past July. So I was definitely eyeing Australia, but I actually didn't trade any apparel, but some of the Israeli girls loved the Team USA apparel, so I just gave them a couple of t-shirts and what I had on my end. But I didn't really feel the need to trade at that point. I just wanted to give them what they were interested in. So
well, I kind of want to trade for your jersey, Chelsey.
Okay.
I mean, it was very special. But let me just say this, everybody. We have an event. I don't know if we do this every year, but every other year we have a Legends of the Maccabiah event. And this year it's on October 30th in LA. I don't know how many of you are West Coast or West Coast connected. Chelsey is being honored for how she impacted women's sports for the Jewish community. There are several other athletes. It's pretty exciting. And so if anyone's going to be there or knows when anyone's going to be there, I actually hooked up some of my friends who are working for the Federation out in LA. I think it's always a great event. I participated in one in Florida. It's special. We appreciate the specialness of each of our athletes and of course the community that comes together. You can go to our website for information or register. Here's Danny. He's he's right on. Way to go, Danny Sadowski. You put it right in the link there. You can register or donate or bid on auction items. Maybe that's where I should put my hoodie. Maybe I should put it up for auction. The hoodie I did not compete in. It doesn't smell. All right, who else has some questions for us? Arnie?
Well, let me first of all, before we jump into more questions, because I do have one for all of you, but I just want to tell all of you how special this show is tonight. Everybody on the Zoom, including Don and I, for the most part, we're the Maccabi family. We either competed as an athlete, we're parents of athletes, some of us are grandparents of athletes, and just hearing how special your experience was this summer, really brings it home why this organization is so great. Whether it's open sports, a couple of you played open, Danielle, you played masters. We're missing tonight the junior athlete, but they're very special to it. Just thank you for sharing the story. So, what I kind of want to ask all three of you is maybe a twofold question. One is, how did you feel about the United States president being there for opening ceremonies and addressing at least, a segment of the team? Because that's very unique. That hasn't happened before. And if you were addressing a young teenager right now and talking to them about their future and Maccabiah or Pan Am games or something that we do with Maccabi, what would you share with them? Why don't we start? Alan, why don't you start, and then Chelsey, and then Danielle, why don't you anchor it?
Yeah, I think that's a really cool question. I think that the history of Maccabi, coming from the fact that Jews were not allowed to play sports. So they creatively created their own solution, as history has shown they've done again and again. It validates the event. I think the president being there proves that the Maccabi Games is a serious event for serious athletes, to show that to the world what their talent. And even though Jews are obviously allowed to participate in sports now, it is a symbol of the history. And when you're talking to junior athletes, it's funny that you said that. I actually had the opportunity of talking to two 17-year-old athletes when I was back in Michigan for a weekend. There was a very big recruiting trip, and both of them told me that they were interested in doing Maccabi Games. And I did not have the words to explain to them how critical it is for them personally to do that if it falls in their plans, not even as an athlete. But when you see these experiences being validated by the attendance of the President of the United States, at bare minimum, it shows not how special the event is, but the scale that the event is.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's up? Hey, Chelsea. What do you
Yeah,
think?
that's what I was going to say too. Is I actually got that question right before we had our first game against Israel, and that was the first thing I said was, it really just goes to show the credibility of this event on that large of a scale, and it just proves to the rest of the world that, hey, this is legit, and this is the Jewish Olympics. So you put the words in my mouth, Alan. That's what I was going to say too.
All right. And Danielle, by the way, Danielle, I think we're going to invite you to everything we do. You come with just an incredible pack of Schwartzes. I can see them all throughout. It's kind of great. When you're speaking, I'm looking for, like, there's all these people smiling. It's like, it's awesome.
I have a wonderful support system at home. I have incredible family and friends, and they show up, and they were cheering me on the whole time with videos and texts. I mean, I would wake up in the morning and it was, I'd get text messages from them from the night before with the time change, and truly inspiring and helped me get through. But yeah, President Biden there was very special. I always tell people, like, the Maccabi Games, the Jewish Olympics. I think if you are familiar with Maccabi, you believe me. If you don't, you're like, yeah, okay, whatever, it's not the Olympics. When you say President Biden was there, like, wow, it really, like Alan was saying, like, we're like, wow, this is really a big deal that President Biden was there. And the whole ceremony in general, I mean, it was a spectacle. We have some cousins in Israel, and they said that it's amazing the President of the United States was there. That's never happened before, like you said. And the show itself, they had never seen the opening ceremony like that. They thought it was above and beyond, and we felt that way as well. And for me, also, President Herzog being there, the president of Israel, he actually went to Ramaz in New York City, and that's where my kids go to school. So that was a pretty special connection as well. And as far as what I would tell young athletes, since the 3 months I've come back, anyone who I feel can compete in the Maccabi Games, I've told them you have to do it from age 16 to 80. I tell them it was a trip I will never forget. It was life-changing. Doesn't matter how old you are, what sport you're playing in, but it is such an incredible experience for so many reasons. And today I was hitting with a 22-year-old who graduated from Wake Forest, and I said, you have to do this. Like, I promise you, it will be one of the best experiences of your life. And I really am encouraging anyone to do it.
Right. Marshall, Danny, Deb, I mean, listen, you're just going to take Danielle and Alan and Chelsea wherever we go. I just want to say we're going to end this with a rousing video that will bring everyone in the experience. But I can tell you what I'm hearing. And Gary, I see your question. Yes, it is about building enduring relationships. There's all these different levels of families that are involved, right? There's the family of your team. Each one of them had a different team. We have the women's ice hockey team. We have the women's masters tennis. We had men's gymnastics, right? And then beyond that, Carmen's on here. Carmen played on our, again, first historical women's water polo team. And there's probably some others that I'm not finding right now. Okay, so we have those families. And then you have the families that come and support you, right? The ones you were born into. You have your family of friends. Then you have the international family that you connect with, like those Argentinians. I remember when I played, it was Canadian wrestlers, Australian basketball players. Yes, and we do keep in touch as long as we possibly can. And that's why we're also building this family of women. We also have the family that helps make these games happen. Many of us started as athletes. So you see on this call, you have our staff, which is Danny and Mackenzie and Dan and Steve Graber, I saw, of course, led by Marshall. And then you have Don and Deb and Arnie and who else? I don't want to miss
Lou.
Lou was on.
I didn't even see Lou. Hey, Lou. Right. And then all of this family that comes together for this show, like Kenny, who was a manager, and Fred Schoenfeld, and I saw David Perlman and Joy. I mean, it's all these families. And aren't we lucky because they're all not dysfunctional? Like they kind of work. It's awesome. So before we leave you and we say thank you to everybody, did you want to say something, Danielle? I'm sorry.
I was just going to give a shout out to Kenny. Poor Kenny had to deal with so many questions about laundry. And the schedule, and our coaches, Anna and Scott Ehrlich. Like you said, it really became a family, and they were incredible. They're doing this on a volunteer basis, and they put up with a lot of stuff, and did it with a smile on their face, and were always encouraging and supportive, inspiring. They had to be at the club morning, noon, and night. So I just wanted to give them a shout out and say thank you again. They really made it such a
Kenny's the man. And we want to say hello to Saul. We want to say thank you to Saul, our youngest member here, and Joy. I know Joy's really happy to be here. And there's Sandy Green. I think they're all part of your family, Danielle.
Hey, Donna.
This is
Donna,
what Maccabi feels like. Ready, roll.
Hold it.
Welcome to Tel Aviv, one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
From the lowest point on Earth to the top of Masada, Day 3 of Israel Connect took the U.S. delegation to some of the most scenic and historic spots in Israel.
I'm here at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem for the Phyllis Megerman Bar and Bat Mitzvah ceremony. This is the first time that the entire U.S. delegation is here together.
Maccabi USA athletes were out in the field giving back as part of the Lev Lelev community service events.
A day like this one reminds them to be thankful for the opportunity they have, and they aced it.
Being able to help out our fellow Jews in Israel, it creates a sense of unity that you wouldn't be able to find anywhere else.
The kids that we spoke to before, the smiles on their faces made our day.
Our whole delegation is 1,351, which is the largest traveling delegation to a multi-sport event in history.
Give it up for the United States of America!
It was like a giant bar mitzvah party. And when I see so many thousands of us in one place, having such a great time and feeling so at ease, wow, I am a proud Jew.
Here at the Poleg Beach in Israel, it's the official Maccabi village. So come on with me, let's take a tour.
the first time Maccabi USA field hockey has ever won a gold medal at the Maccabi.
Many other Americans triumphed on the final day of track and field competition.
Waits patiently, strikes with the left foot, and it's a goal! The United States strikes first.
To win gold with my team is the best thing we could ask for.
First ever women's hockey competition here at the 21st Maccabi. The U.S. centers and score.
I'm never shooting to miss. Obviously, it's outside of the normal range, but I gave it all I got.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Yeah!
Shot it at the goal! And there goes the teddy bear. The United States takes home the gold medal for the first time this century.
The Americans are golden.
Well, actually, Arnie, did you want to say, we actually may see everybody sooner at the Pan American Games. I believe Deb Lichtenfeld, our chair, is on. I just also want to say thank you to Lou Moyerman, who was our chair for these past games. Amazing feats.
That-
Want to wrap us up?
Well, that video, I still get shivers when I see it. I mean, it's phenomenal. And kudos to the Maccabi staff and lay leadership in helping put something like that together. I just want to thank all of you for participating, for being part of the family, which you are now absolutely part of the family. As Donna just said, you know, our next competition is literally right around the corner in Buenos Aires with the Pan American Games the December after this. And, you know, this is not a normal cycle because of COVID. So the next Maccabi in Israel, believe it or not, is like 33 months away. So it's also right there. So if any of you hopefully are still wanting to pursue your athletic dreams and your Jewish dreams, we invite you to join us again in Israel in 2025. And to all of you that are joining our show, I have to tell you, you know, Don and I are so appreciative every month to be able to bring on great Jewish guests from around the globe and to bring them to the Maccabi family. And we will continue to do that. So I'm going to let you close it, Donna, but I do want to say thank you to Mackenzie and Dan Kurtz in particular. They are our producers. Danielle, I know you have a production background with Fox and ESPN. So Dan Kurtz, we don't want to lose Dan Kurtz and Mackenzie, but if they ever want to move on to the big time, maybe you can lead them the way to ESPN and Fox. But it's been a real honor to have the three of you with us tonight, and we look forward to next month.
When's our next show so we can tell everybody to come back?
Well, Dan, Mackenzie, I know we have a date, and so maybe you can let us know the date, and we'll be announcing our guests for that show in the next week or two.
Yeah, we have to do a build up for the guests, but when are we going to, that would be great. I think it's at the end of October, yes?
It's in October. You guys know, do you guys have the date handy?
October 19th.
There you go.
October 19th, be there. We'll have another great show, and it will only be great because you'll all be there. Danielle, thank you. Alan, thank you. And Chelsey, thank you. Everybody have a great night. We'll and also a very healthy and happy, sweet New Year. Shalom.
Thank you so much for having us.